You think the first million is about math, about earning enough, investing correctly, waiting long enough. You look at the equation and think, you understand the game. He didn't understand shit. The first million is not a mathematical problem. It's a psychological problem. It's a brutal war against everything you are, everything you believe, everything society has programmed you to do. And most lose this war before they even understand that they are fighting. Let me tell you something that Charlie Munger would repeat ad nauseum. Making your first million doesn't require exceptional intelligence. It requires something much rarer. The ability to act against your own instincts long enough for the result to appear. Any idiot with a calculator can do the math. Earn X, spend Y, invest Z, wait T years, reach 1 million. The math is trivial. A 10-year-old does it. But execute? Performing requires you to become someone completely different than you are now. And therein lies the problem. You don't want to change. You want the results of change without the pain of transformation. He wants the million without becoming the type of person who reaches the million. It's like wanting an athlete's body without ever training. It's childish fantasy disguised as a goal. The first million is psychological testing. It forces you to confront every weakness you have, every impulse barely controlled, every convenient justification, every self-defeating pattern. And if you don't win these internal battles, the math doesn't matter. You can have the perfect plan and still fail spectacularly. The brutal truth is this: the distance between you and $1 million is not financial, it's mental. And most people are so far gone mentally that they could win the lottery and still die poor. Because the problem was never a lack of money, it was excessive psychological weakness. When I studied patterns of people who made their first million without inheritance or luck, I discovered something disturbing. Their math wasn't special. Many earned average salaries. They invested in common things. They followed strategies that anyone could follow. The difference was elsewhere. It was in the ability to do boring, uncomfortable, socially awkward things for decades without deviating. While everyone around them was spending to look successful, they were saving and looking average. While everyone financed lifestyle, they lived below their means. While everyone sought immediate gratification, they systematically delayed it. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't inspiring. It was mechanical, repetitive, brutally boring. But it worked, because their psychology was aligned with mathematics. Now let me show you exactly where your psychology is fucking you up. First, you need external validation. You can't be invisible. You need people to see that you're fine. Then spend it on signs of status. Better car, branded clothes, expensive restaurants, trips to post. Every dollar you spend to impress people who don't care about you is a dollar that isn't working to give you real freedom. You exchange genuine wealth for the appearance of wealth. It's the stupidest exchange ever. Second, you can't handle discomfort. Getting to your first million requires years, often decades, of voluntary discomfort. Driving an old car, live in a smaller place than you could, saying no to things you want. Being different while everyone around is enjoying. You don't have the stomach for this. He prefers comfort now and poverty later to discomfort now and wealth later. Third, you underestimate the time required. You think you're going to make $1 million in 5 years, maybe 10. The reality? For most, it's 20, 25 years. And you don't have the patience for that. You want quick results, so you jump from strategy to strategy, never staying long enough with anyone to see results. Your impatience ensures you never get there. Fourth, you sabotage yourself at critical moments. It's going well, accumulating, progressing. Here comes an opportunity, a dubious investment, a can't-miss deal, a chance to accelerate. And you throw away years of progress on an emotional decision, because deep down he doesn't trust the boring plan that works. Want magic? Want a shortcut? And it destroys you. Fifth, you don't understand that failure is part of the process. There will be a recession. There will be investments that fail. There will be setback. And at the first significant drop, you panic. Sell everything. Give up. Completely change strategy. Because emotionally, you're not prepared for volatility. Want a straight line going up? It doesn't exist. It never existed. Sixth, you surround yourself with the wrong people. Your friends spend everything. Your family thinks you're a bitch. Your social circle doesn't understand why you don't enjoy it more. And you, weak as you are, give in to the pressure. Because being different is lonely. Then you become the same again, and equally poor. I saw people reach their first million. They weren't the smartest. They weren't the most creative. They were the most stubborn, the most willing to be misunderstood, the most capable of ignoring other people's opinions, the most disciplined in doing the right thing even when it was lonely and boring. And I've seen brilliant people fail miserably. Because intelligence without discipline is just wasted potential. It's knowing what to do and not do. It's understanding mathematics and ignoring it out of psychological weakness. You are in the second group. Know what to do. You just don't have the mental strength to do it. Reaching your first million requires you to die and be reborn. The current you doesn't get there. It does not have the necessary characteristics. You need to become someone else. And this transformation is too painful for most. You need to become someone who values invisibility. While everyone wants to be noticed, you need to learn to be ignored. Driving a car that no one looks twice at. Wearing clothes that no one talks about. Live in a place that no one envies. Because every dollar not spent on showing up is a dollar that is silently compounding. Real wealth is invisible until it is so great that it can no longer be hidden. Compulsively delay gratification. Not occasionally. Not when it's convenient. Always. You see something you want, and your first reaction isn't, how do I get it? It's, how much does it take me away from the goal? And 99% of the time, the answer makes you let it go. You develop an allergy to consumption. It makes you genuinely uncomfortable spending on non-essentials. This is not normal, but it is necessary. Think in decades, not months. Every decision is evaluated not by its impact today or tomorrow, but by its impact in 20 years. Will this better car make a difference in 2045? No. Will that extra $500 invested every month make a difference in 2045? Absolutely. Your time perspective expands. You literally see the world differently. Ignores social pressure. His family thinks it's strange. Your friends make jokes. Your social circle doesn't understand. And you genuinely don't care. Not because he's arrogant, because he's clear about what matters. Opinions of people who are broke about their finances are irrelevant. You stop seeking external validation and start validating yourself internally through measurable progress. Tolerates emotional volatility. The market drops 20%. You don't panic. It doesn't sell. In fact, buy more. Because emotionally you are prepared for it. Understand that volatility is the price you pay for returns. It's not a system defect. It's a feature. And you accept that price coldly. When I was building my first million, I went through a psychological transformation that was more difficult than anything physical I've ever done. I had to kill parts of myself that I thought were essential. I killed the need to impress. I killed the desire for excessive comfort. I killed my impatience. I killed the need to be right immediately. I killed the dependency on external validation. And I was born another person. Someone who could see a $500 difference a month as a difference of $100,000 in 20 years. Someone who could drive a 10-year-old car while colleagues financed new ones. Someone who could say no to expensive vacations without feeling like they were missing out. This transformation did not happen all at once. It was gradual, painful, full of relapses, but it happened. And when it happened, the first million stopped being an unattainable goal and became a mathematical inevitability. Making the first million is a war of attrition. It is not a single and decisive battle. It's a long, tedious, exhausting war where victory goes to whoever lasts the longest doing the right thing. And you are losing this war because you don't understand that it exists. Every day you wake up and need to win small battles. Battle against buying expensive coffee. Battle against ordering delivery. Battle against just this once. Battle against I deserve it. Individually, they are ridiculous battles. Collectively, they decide everything. You lose the majority. Because there are so many that you get tired. Because they seem insignificant. Because no one is really watching. And every small defeat takes you millimeters away from the million. 1,000 small defeats take you miles away. People who reach a million, they win most of these battles. Not all of them, they are human. But most. And the difference accumulated over 20 years is absolutely brutal. Think of it this way. You and another guy earn the same. Invest equally. The only difference is that you lose 70% of the daily micro battles of unnecessary spending. He loses 30%. 20 years later, you have 300,000. He has 1,000,000 and 200. Same income, same basic strategy. Difference. Discipline in 1,000 small moments. It's a war of attrition. And discipline is ammunition. You're running out of ammunition because you didn't treat this as war. Treat it with normal life, where I sometimes keep money. No, it's war where sometimes you allow yourself small pleasures. The mentality is reversed. And until you reverse it, you have no chance. Compound interest is not just a financial phenomenon, it's a psychological phenomenon. The longer you maintain discipline, the easier it becomes to maintain discipline. The more you see results, the more motivated you are. The more motivated, the more consistent. It's a positive snowball. But in the early years, it's uphill. It's pushing rocks up a hill. It's doing everything right and seeing pathetic progress. It's looking at the balance and laughing at how insignificant it seems. Most give up here. Because psychologically you cannot bear to make significant effort for insignificant reward. You want to see immediate results? Want quick validation? It does not have. I spent the first 5 years feeling stupid. I saved money religiously. Invest. I didn't spend it on nonsense. I looked at the balance and thought, is this everything? Is that why I'm sacrificing myself? It was so little that it seemed like a joke. Meanwhile, friends bought cars, traveled, seemed to be living. And there I was, with my measly $15,000, $20,000 feeling like a fool. But I continued, not because he was strong, but because he was too stubborn to admit defeat. And something happened in year 6, 7. Growth accelerated, not because I changed strategy, because the math finally started to really work. The returns upon returns began to appear. Year 10, it had more than 100,000. Year 15, more than 300. Year 20, more than 700. Today, over 1 million. Same boring strategy as the beginning, same mechanical discipline. But the snowball finally got big enough to roll on its own. And now each year adds more than I added in the first 5 years combined. But I only got here because I psychologically survived the first few years, to the years where it seemed useless, where it seemed like nothing was happening, where the temptation to give up and enjoy was overwhelming. You won't survive these years. Because he is not psychologically prepared. You're not clear about what you are doing. There is no support system. It has nothing but good intentions. And good intentions evaporate in the first difficult year. Here's what no one tells you about making your first million. It has a psychological cost. Real, measurable, painful. You'll feel left behind while friends visibly progress. They're going to buy a house, a car, go on trips. You will stay in the same apartment, same car, same routine. And it will hurt, because socially it will feel like you're standing still while everyone else moves forward. The truth? They're sinking into debt. They are buying the appearance of success with a mortgaged future. But you don't know that. You only see the surface, and the surface hurts. You will question your choices. Am I doing it right? Am I being too clumsy? Am I wasting my youth? These doubts will assail you, often. And if you don't have unshakable conviction, you will give in. You will be misunderstood. Your family will think you're greedy. Friends will stop calling you because you never really spend. Romantic partner may question why you don't invest in the relationship, read, spend on expensive restaurants. You will be socially punished for doing the financially right thing. This is not dramatic. It's real. That's what happens. And if you're not prepared psychologically, you will break. You will give in to the pressure. You will start spending to prove something. And then he lost. When I was at this stage, I lost friendships. Relationship partially ended because of this. Family made comments. It was lonely. It was uncomfortable. It was constant. But I had made a choice. I would rather be misunderstood for 20 years and free afterwards than always understood and trapped forever. This clarity saved. Because when social pressure increased, I returned to this fundamental choice. You don't have that clarity. Then, the first pressure knocks you down. The first criticism makes you question. The first, you're wasting your life, makes you give in. And then it ended. The first million stops being a possibility and becomes a fantasy. Because you were not psychologically prepared for the real cost. There is a specific mindset that leads to the first million. It's not mysterious. It's not complex. But it's rare because most people prefer comfortable lies to brutal truths. The mindset is realistic about time. Accept that it will take decades, not 5 years, not 10, probably 20 or more, and he's fine with that. Because you understand that the alternative, not doing it, results in 20 years passing anyway, and you arriving at the same point without a million. Regardless of opinion, you don't need anyone to understand. You don't need to validate yourself externally. You know what you're doing and why. Opinions from people who don't understand the game are irrelevant noise. Systematic in execution. Does not depend on motivation. It has a system. 10% goes to INV estimate before any other bill. Automatically. Don't negotiate with yourself. System decides, not emotion. Immune to comparison. Doesn't compare himself to anyone. He doesn't care about his neighbor's car, his colleague's trip, or his cousin's house. Comparison is poison. Focus on your own progress. Better month than last month? Enough? Cold in crisis, market falls, don't panic, recession coming. Keep investing. Does an emergency happen? Use emergency fund, not investments. Emotion does not govern financial decisions. Never. This seems obvious. It is not. It is extremely difficult to maintain for decades because it requires you to be fundamentally different from 95% of people. And being different is uncomfortable. But here's the interesting part. Once you develop this mindset, making money becomes easier. Not because the math changes, because you change. You stop fighting yourself, stop sabotaging yourself, stop repeating self-destructive patterns. And then the first million is a matter of time. Inevitable, guaranteed, because you became the type of person who makes a million. And people like that arrive. Always. The first million is the final test of character. Test everything. Your ability to delay gratification for decades, your ability to ignore social pressure, your discipline in maintaining system even when it is tedious, your resilience when results take time, your coldness when markets fall, his humility in being invisible, your patience with slow process. Pass all these tests? Rare. Extremely rare. Most fail at least 3 or 4. And every failure guarantees that the million never happens. You know which ones you're going to fail at. You already know, because you know yourself, know your weaknesses, know your limits, know where you tend to give in. The question is, are you going to do something about it? Will you build systems that compensate for your weaknesses? Will you create an environment that makes success likely in spite of yourself? Or will you rely on willpower and fail like everyone else who relies on willpower? Here is the final, brutal, inescapable truth. The first million is not about math. It's about psychology. It's about you confronting every weakness you have and winning. It's about transforming yourself into someone fundamentally different. It's about enduring discomfort, loneliness, misunderstanding for decades. And you are not prepared. Not because he's stupid, not because you don't know what to do, but because he doesn't have the necessary psychological strength. He doesn't have the discipline for 20 years of monotony. It doesn't have the resilience for years of pathetic results. You don't have the independence to ignore other people's opinions. You can read 1,000 books, you can take 1,000 courses, can understand mathematics perfectly. It doesn't matter. Because math is easy. Psychology is impossible for most. You have 2 options. Option 1, continue as is, understands intellectually but does not execute psychologically. You know what to do, but you don't have the discipline to do it. He reaches 60 without a million, without freedom, wondering where he went wrong. You already know where. Here. Now. In the inability to transform understanding into execution. Option 2, you accept that you need to die and be reborn psychologically, that the current you doesn't get there, that you need to become someone else, and the brutal work of transformation begins. Develops discipline, create systems, ignore pressure, endure discomfort, for decades, without deviating. The choice seems abstract. It is not. It's concrete. It's every little decision you make today, tomorrow, for the next 20 years. Buy the expensive coffee or save that $5? Psychology, do you finance the car or drive the old one for another 5 years? Psychology, do you invest the bonus or spend it on travel? Psychology, do you stick to the plan when it drops by 20% or do you panic? Psychology, 1,000 decisions, 10,000, 100,000, each one small. Each one revealing who you really are. And in the aggregate of these decisions, your financial destiny materializes. The first million is a psychological achievement. Mathematics is just a consequence. And as long as you don't understand that, as long as you think the problem is strategy or knowledge or opportunity, you're lost. The problem is you. It always was. It always will be. Until you accept this and begin the painful work of psychological transformation, the million is fantasy. It's a pretty number that you use to pretend to have goals while doing nothing concrete to achieve them. But a few accept it. They face the brutal truth. The transformation begins. They can withstand years of discomfort. And they get there. Not because they are special, because they are too stubborn to give up and too disciplined to sabotage themselves. You can be one of them. Mathematically, it can. Psychologically, statistically unlikely. But the choice is yours. It always was. And when you're old, looking back, you'll know exactly where your psychology failed you. You'll know exactly what weakness held you back. You'll know exactly when you've given up. Or will you look back and see $1 million as proof that you won the war against yourself? The difference between these 2 futures? It's not math, it's psychology. And yours is fucking you right now.